Inside the Galactic Council's observation chamber, alien delegates watch in stunned disbelief as Earth's warships execute a devastating attack unlike anything seen before. Fear and confusion ripple through the ranks. A human commander calmly issues a deadly countdown in their own voice, a chilling promise of chaos to come. The holographic chamber hummed with cold light. Hundreds of alien delegates, draped in opulent robes or shimmering carapaces, watched the starlit vista projected before them. Earth, that blue-green jewel they once mocked as primitive, savage, and barely worth the Council's attention. Uncivilized, the Zilvarn ambassador hissed, flicking a clawed finger at the projection. How could they breach the outer perimeter? Surely a mistake in the scans. The Andari scientist frowned, fingers flicking over a datapad. Sensors show an armada of ships, all Earth design, sleek, low signature, and armed to the teeth. With those Deathworld weapons. Deathworld, the Zrelk shouted, trembling. They are mere hunters on a rock. What power do they wield to break our shields? The chamber's temperature dropped as the image zoomed closer. A massive human warship emerging from cloaked dark space, an unseen gravity pulse rippling outward. Alien shields flared, wavering like glass under the weight of an unseen hammer. They're firing EMP volleys. The shield grids are collapsing. A panicked observer gasped. Lights blinked frantic red. Alarms echoed in their ears. "This cannot be," whispered the High Counselor. "Our technology is centuries ahead." Suddenly, the view shifted, a close-up of the human bridge. A tall, battle-hardened commander stood silent, his eyes cold, his fingers poised over a console. His voice broke the silence, a low, resonant tone in perfect galactic common. 60 seconds until impact. You called us uncivilized. You called us primitive. We are the Deathworld destroyers. The countdown began. The council chamber froze, breaths caught, hearts pounding. The once confident aliens looked away, dread creeping over their faces. "Is this the end of the council?" One whispered. The commander's final words echoed through their minds, a promise and a warning. "We came to survive. Now we come to dominate." As the Deathworld destroyers breach the Council's once impenetrable shields, chaos erupts among the alien races. Fear and disbelief spread fast, while Earth's defenders prepare a deadly counterattack. From the cold, strategic minds of human commanders to the alien diplomats' unraveling composure, this chapter explores the first real bloodshed and the shattering of the galaxy's illusions about Earth. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, once a symbol of order and supremacy, now vibrated with an uneasy tremor. The great shields, a gleaming web of energy that had repelled countless invaders, flickered and splintered, one pulse, two pulses, then a crushing silence. "Impossible," hissed Archon Virath, his segmented mandibles trembling as he stared. At the breach blinking red on the holomap. The Deathworld destroyers have penetrated the shields. Around him, the council members, each a vastly different shape and color, from the translucent, thought-speaking Virex to the towering armored Zirka, gasped. Panic slithered like a virus. The Deathworld destroyers. The name alone was a whispered curse among the civilized species. Earth's warriors, branded uncivilized primitive barbarians, were now shattering the most advanced defenses in the galaxy. Virath's mandibles snapped sharply. What manner of technology do these humans wield? It cannot be natural. A violet-skinned scientist, Professor Ilix, adjusted her spectral lenses, voice shaking. Their warships employ an EMP nanotech hybrid, self-repairing and adaptive. The shield's resonance frequencies were no match. From the back, a trembling envoy muttered, "And their cloaking fields. We detected them only after the shields began failing." Virath's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. "This changes everything. We must convene emergency protocols." Far below the Council's citadel, deep in Earth's orbit, the human warship, USS Dauntless, held steady. Commander Sarah Voss stood at the bridge, eyes sharp and voice calm, despite the maelstrom around her. Shields down to 40% and falling, reported Lieutenant Chen, fingers dancing over the tactical console. Voss nodded, the hard lines of command etched on her face. Deploy countermeasures, activate the quantum disruptors, ready the gravity mines on Deck 6. The bridge's holomap pulsed with red. The Council's capital world, once thought impregnable, now vulnerable. Voss tapped her comm. Echo Squad, deploy stealth drones around the perimeter. I want eyes everywhere. Behind her, Chief Engineer Malik glanced up from the systems console, sweat beading on his forehead. The nanotech repair swarm is operating at max capacity, but this breach isn't just a simple attack. It's a surgical strike on their core defenses, which means they knew our systems inside and out, Voss said quietly. Someone sold them out. Her mind raced. Betrayal, a word she never liked to whisper, but one that now tasted bitter in her mouth. Back in the council chamber, Virath's voice cracked. They are not merely attacking. They are rewriting the rules of engagement. We cannot stand idle, growled General Krith of the Zirka Legion. Prepare counterstrike fleets. We crush these humans before they reach our command nexus. Virath waved him down. No, we are fractured now. Our fleets are scattered, and our shields lie in ruins. The Virex diplomat Ilix stepped forward, eyes gleaming with fear and fascination. Perhaps the humans have evolved beyond what we perceive as civilized. Their so-called primitive tactics hide deep scientific cunning. A murmur rippled through the chamber. For the first time, doubt seeped in. Fear of a species they had long dismissed as beneath notice. On board the USS Dauntless, Voss stared at the incoming transmissions. The Council's forces were scrambling but disorganized. Captain, Malik interrupted. The shield breach was achieved using a sequence of EMP bursts coupled with graviton pulse cannons. We replicated some of their tech from recovered wreckage, but it's unlike anything we've seen. Voss turned, voice steel. Then we use it to finish this fight. Prepare the Deathworld protocols. Malik paled. The last time those were used, we lost half the fleet. Voss's eyes hardened. They called us uncivilized. We'll show them what Deathworld means. Meanwhile, deep inside the alien warship Vorkal, the alien commander Zelrith clenched his claws in frustration. How could this be? He snarled. Our shields shattered in moments by these humans. His second-in-command, a wiry tactical officer named Serthil, spoke nervously. Commander, their weapons use graviton wave manipulation, disrupting the shield's quantum lattice. Our scans missed it because their nanotech reconfiguration hides the emission signatures. Zelrith's compound eyes flickered with rage. Then we adapt, target their cloaking devices, rip apart their ships. Zerthil nodded but added, our morale is faltering. The soldiers see the humans survive impossible odds. They whisper of Deathworld rage. Zelrith growled low. We must crush that rage before it consumes us. On Earth, in a hidden laboratory, Dr. Amara Reyes monitored the battle's progress. Her face was illuminated by a cascade of data streams. The nanotech swarm in their shields, she muttered. It's self-healing and self-learning. The more damage it takes, the faster it repairs. That's why the Council's shields failed in seconds. Her assistant looked up, worried. Can we amplify the disruptor frequency to counter their repair rate? Reyes shook her head. Not without destabilizing our own systems, but we do have one option left, the gravity minefield. If we lure their fleet into the field, the resulting interference could cripple their ships' power cores. The assistant swallowed. But it's a suicide trap. Sometimes, Reyes said softly, sacrifice is the only way to protect what's left. The tension on the Dauntless Bridge was palpable. Voss's voice cut through the static. Echo. Squad report. Lieutenant Chen's voice was steady but urgent. Drones confirm enemy fleet inbound, slower than expected. They're cautious, likely scouting for traps. Voss smiled grimly. Good. Let them come. Her fingers danced over the control panel. Deploy gravity mines in Quadrant 7. Set them on remote detonation. Malik chimed in. We'll trigger the mines once the enemy is inside the field. The graviton interference should overload. They're quantum cores. Voss nodded, eyes steely. This ends here. Deathworld isn't just a name, it's a warning. Back at the Galactic Council, Virath's composure broke. His voice trembled as he addressed the assembly. We underestimated Earth. We called them uncivilized, but they have become the galaxy's reckoning. A chorus of gasps and whispers filled the chamber. I fear, Virath said quietly, that today marks the beginning of the end for the Council's reign. The chamber darkened as alarms wailed. The power grid flickered. For the first time, an old fear crept back, the fear of extinction. On the Dauntless Bridge, Voss's comm crackled. All units, brace for impact! The first salvo from the alien fleet lit the void, energy pulses colliding with the ship's reinforced hull. The gravity mines hummed softly, a deadly web waiting. Voss gritted her teeth. Trigger sequence in 3, but 2, 1. An eruption of energy tore through Quadrant 7. Alien ships were caught in the blast, their quantum cores destabilizing, engines faltering. Screams filled the comm channels. The Deathworld destroyers faltered. In that moment, across the shattered battlefield, a new reality dawned. Earth was no longer a primitive world to be dismissed. It was a storm, fierce, unstoppable, and deadly. And the Council would never forget the day their shields broke. The shattered shields have plunged the Galactic Council into chaos. While alien fleets scramble to regroup, Earth's forces push forward with brutal efficiency. Commander Voss and her team wrestle with the rising human cost, even as the aliens grapple with disbelief and desperation. The chapter reveals the hidden horrors of the Deathworld protocols and cracks open the mystery behind humanity's terrifying resilience. The shattered remnants of the Galactic Council's grand chamber echoed with frantic alarms, flickering lights, and harsh metallic groans. For the first time in eons, the bastion of alien civilization was vulnerable. Virath's many eyes swept the room, burning with a mix of fury and dread. Prepare evacuation protocols. We cannot hold this seat any longer. Ilix's spectral fingers trembled as she interfaced with the Council's remaining network. The shield arrays have failed beyond repair. The quantum lattice is destabilizing. Our ships are scattered and crippled. A deep growl rumbled through the chamber as General Kryth slammed his armored fist on the console. We can still fight, rally the fleets, crush them in the void. Virath shook his head. No. We must preserve what remains, evacuate key personnel to the outer sanctums. The Council is finished, but not yet extinct. In orbit above the devastated Council world, the USS Dauntless floated like a spectre. Inside, Commander Sarah. Voss stared at the battle map. Red dots marked destroyed enemy vessels. Yellow signaled the retreating survivors. Lieutenant Chen's voice was steady but hollow. Enemy fleet fractured, remaining ships retreating through jump gates. Voss's jaw clenched. Cut off their escape routes. Prepare pursuit ships. Behind, her chief engineer Malik rubbed his temples. Exhaustion etched deeply. Our systems took heavy damage from the counter-salvo. Repair cycles won't keep up if this drags on. Voss's voice was steel. Then we end it quickly. We use the Deathworld protocols, full activation. Deep in the ship's tactical room, Captain Voss stood before a holographic display showing classified schematics. Graviton pulse generators, EMP nanite swarms, and experimental weapon systems developed in secret during the darkest hours of Earth's Wars, Dr. Amara Reyes entered quietly, her face grave. The Deathworld protocols are more than weapons. They're designed to sacrifice entire systems if necessary, to win by attrition. Voss looked up sharply. How many lives? Reyes hesitated. Potentially thousands. But if we don't act, the Council's forces will regroup and destroy us all. The commander's eyes flickered with the heavy burden of command. We're fighting a war the galaxy never expected. We cannot win by playing by their rules. Meanwhile, far from the battlefield, the alien fleet's scattered survivors limped through the cold void, nursing wounds and fractured morale. Gelrith sat in his command chamber aboard the Vorkal, his compound eyes dull with fatigue. The humans, their rage is more than fury. It is a primal force, born of sacrifice, pain, and a cold will to survive. Cethil paced anxiously. Our communications are jammed by their nanotech swarms. We cannot coordinate properly. Zelrith's claws tightened on the armrest. We need new tactics. We cannot face them in open space. We must lure them into the nebula of sorrows. Cethil's antennae twitched. But that region is treacherous. Gravity anomalies, ion storms. Many of our ships won't survive. Better to die fighting in darkness than to fall in the light, Zelrith growled. On Earth, the toll of war was already evident. The streets beneath the orbital warships were tense. Soldiers gathered, their faces a mix of resolve and haunted weariness. Private Jalen Diaz adjusted his helmet, his fingers trembling slightly. This is more than I signed up for. Sergeant Maya Hart put a firm hand on his shoulder. It's not just a fight for survival. It's a fight for humanity's soul. In the command tent, Major Eleanor Park reviewed incoming intel. The Deathworld protocols mean more than weapons. They represent a legacy of sacrifice that Earth's military keeps hidden. Jalen swallowed hard. What kind of sacrifices? Park's eyes darkened. Missions that cost entire squads, technologies designed to force the enemy into submission. No matter the price. Back on the Dauntless, Commander Voss stood over the tactical hollow, issuing orders. Deploy the graviton disruptors. Target the jump gates to prevent reinforcements. Chen's fingers flew across the console. Jump gate destabilizers active. We're locking down all exit points. Malik injected grim humor into the tension. If they want to run, they'll have to crawl. Voss allowed herself a brief, rare smile. Then let's make them crawl through fire. On board the alien flagship, the Council's desperation reached a breaking point. Virith's voice broke with exhaustion. Our empire has underestimated Earth. Their primitive appearance hid a deadly secret. Ilix nodded, voice trembling. Their technology is crude but adaptive. The nanotech swarms repair their ships mid-battle. Their weapons evolve in real time, Krith growled. They fight with honor and fury. They sacrifice without hesitation. Virith's gaze hardened. We called them uncivilized, but they are the galaxy's reckoning in a remote Earth. Outpost, Dr. Reyes examined battlefield data. Her hands shook slightly as she traced the evolution of the nanotech swarms and gravity mines. They learned from our wars, she murmured. The Deathworld protocols are a mirror of our darkest past. Her assistant looked concerned. Is humanity destined to become the monsters the galaxy fears? Reyes met her gaze. No, we fight with sacrifice, but also mercy. That's what sets us apart. The next assault came fast and brutal. The Dauntless led the charge, ripping through enemy ships caught in the disrupted jumpgate field. Explosions lit the void in violent blooms of fire and energy. Alien vessels tore apart, their quantum cores failing under the relentless graviton pulses. The battlefield was a cacophony of destruction and human resolve. Voss's voice crackled through the comms. Push forward. No mercy. Amid the carnage, Jalen's squad found themselves pinned on a hostile world, the ruined surface of a former council stronghold. Enemy reinforcements inbound, he whispered. voice tight with fear. Maya fired her pulse rifle steadily, eyes scanning the dark horizon. Hold the line for Earth. The ground trembled as towering alien war machines emerged from the shadows, monsters born of advanced engineering and Cold War design. Jalen's heart pounded. This is Deathworld, but we're still standing. Back in orbit, Voss's comm crackled with urgency. Commander, multiple enemy squadrons are attempting to break through the blockade. She gritted her teeth. Divert power to disruptors. Target their flagship, Malik shouted from engineering. Shield regeneration failing. We won't last long if this drags on. Voss's eyes flicked to the war table. Then we end this now. Full Deathworld deployment. No holding back. The alien flagship Vorkal shuddered under relentless fire. Zelrith's rage was a palpable force. They fight like demons, he spat, but we will not bow. Serthil's voice was tight. Commander, sensors detect massive energy buildup. Human ships preparing super-weapon deployment. Zelrith hissed. We must disrupt it. All weapons to full power. On Earth, Dr. Reyes watched the energy signature spike on her console. It's the Deathworld catalyst, she said softly. A weapon designed to collapse quantum fields and rip apart starship cores. Voss entered, eyes burning with determination. Prepare to unleash it, for Earth. The moment came. A silent pulse surged through space, a wave of pure destruction that tore through the alien fleet's remaining ships. Quantum cores overloaded in spectacular explosions, ripping the void apart. Zelrith's flagship crumbled, a dying star in a sea of fire. Virath's voice echoed one last time in the council. Chamber, we misjudged them. Earth has become the Deathworld they feared. As silence fell, Voss stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, staring at the wreckage. We survived, she whispered. But the galaxy will never see Earth the same way again. Malik looked at her, exhausted but proud. We broke their shields, now we break their will. Far from the battlefield, in the shadows of the shattered council, a new order began to stir, one born of fear, respect, and the raw, unyielding power of humanity. The galaxy had called Earth Uncivilized. Now it called Earth the Deathworld Destroyers. The Galactic Council reels. From the destruction of its shield systems, their confidence shattered. Earth's forces push relentlessly, wielding the deadly Deathworld protocols that turn the tide in their favor. Both sides face rising casualties and unthinkable sacrifices, while the true cost of humanity's war comes into sharp, haunting focus. The once impenetrable shield of the Galactic Council shattered like glass under the relentless assault of Earth's warships. In the cold depths of space, flickering energy barriers collapsed, exposing the Council's heart to devastation. The grand chamber aboard the flagship Luminar was filled with chaos, voices rising and falling, alarms screaming warnings, and flashing red lights casting sharp shadows on the panicked faces of alien dignitaries. Virath's many eyes darted around the room, each glowing pupil reflecting the mounting dread. His voice, usually a measured growl, was edged with raw fear. The shields, they are gone, our defenses have failed. The Deathworld destroyers have pierced the Council's last bastion. Ilix, the spectral scientist whose form shimmered like liquid crystal, was already interfacing with the ship's data core. Emergency protocols have engaged, but the quantum lattice stabilizers are failing. The nanite swarms sent to repair the shield are overwhelmed. General Krith's armored frame slammed into the console, a harsh metallic clang echoing through the chamber. They fight with ferocity unmatched. We must strike back, crush them in the void, rally the fleet for a counter-assault. Virath's gaze hardened, cold as the void outside. We cannot. The enemy's technology adapts too quickly. Our forces are fragmented, communication lines severed. The Council is shattered, but we must preserve what remains. Evacuate key personnel to the outer sanctums immediately. Orbiting high above the dying Council world, the USS Dauntless drifted like a vengeful ghost. Inside the ship, Commander Sarah Voss stood, rigid before the tactical map, the stars outside dimmed by the flickering holograms of battle. Lieutenant Chen's voice was steady but tired. Enemy fleet fractured, remaining ships retreating through jump gates toward nebula sectors. Their quantum cores are unstable. Voss's voice was sharp, commanding. Seal the jump gates, no one leaves. Chief Engineer Malik, rubbing the bridge's worn console, glanced over with weary eyes. Our systems are suffering from the last countersalvo. We won't be able to sustain prolonged repairs. We need a decisive strike. Voss's jaw tightened. Then we make it decisive. Engage the Deathworld protocols. Deploy everything we have. In the cold, dimly lit tactical room, Voss faced a holographic schematic of the Deathworld protocols. Classified graviton pulse generators, EMP nanite swarms, cloaking devices masking quantum bursts, and gravity distortion fields. All secret. Weapons born in the crucible of Earth's darkest wars. Dr. Amara Reyes, Earth's leading military scientist, entered silently, her face pale but resolute. Commander, these protocols are more than weapons. They are designed to be scorched earth, strategies, sacrificing entire systems to guarantee victory. Voss's eyes flickered with the weight of command. How many lives? Reyes swallowed hard. Thousands, possibly more. But if we don't act now, the Council's forces will rebuild and annihilate us. Voss's gaze hardened, her voice steel. We're fighting a war no one saw coming. Their arrogance blinded them. We will not be bound by their rules. Far from the war-torn orbits, the alien fleet limped in scattered formations through the blackness of space, wounded and demoralized. Gelrith sat in the shadowed command chamber of the Vorkal, his compound eyes dull with exhaustion. These humans, their wrath is not mere anger. It is primal, born of desperation, pain, and an unyielding will to endure. Serthil's antennae twitched nervously. Their nanotech swarms disrupt our sensors and communications. We cannot coordinate our forces effectively. Gelrith clenched his claws tightly on the armrest. We must change tactics. Draw them into the nebula of sorrows. It will strip them of their technology advantage. Serthil's voice was hesitant. That region is a death trap. Gravity storms, ion radiation, spatial anomalies. Many of our ships may never emerge. Better to fight in the dark than be slaughtered in the open, Gelrith growled. Back on Earth, the scars of war etched deep into the soldiers' faces beneath the orbital fleets. The ground beneath was tense, streets eerily quiet, except for the sounds of armored boots and whispered prayers. Private Jalen Diaz adjusted his helmet nervously. I never imagined war like this. It's different, brutal. Sergeant Maya Hart's grip on her pulse rifle was firm, her eyes fierce. It's more than survival. It's about our species, our future. In the command tent, Major Eleanor Park pored over intel reports. The Deathworld protocols, they're a legacy of sacrifice and desperation, remnants of a darker era Earth hope to forget. Jalen's voice cracked. What does that mean for us? Park's gaze was heavy. It means we're fighting a war with tools designed to demand terrible prices. On the Dauntless, Commander Voss issued orders with unyielding resolve. Deploy the graviton disruptors. Target every jump gate and forward position. We cut off their retreat. Lieutenant Chen's hands moved swiftly across the console. Jump. Gate destabilizers engaged. We're locking all exits. Chief Malik smirked grimly. If they want to flee, they'll have to crawl through fire. For the first time in days, Voss allowed herself a brief, grim smile. Let's make sure they regret every step. On the shattered Council flagship, despair clung to the surviving members like a shadow. Virath's voice was low and bitter. We called Earth uncivilized, but they are the reckoning the galaxy feared. Ilix nodded, her ethereal form trembling. Their technology may appear crude, but it adapts swiftly. Their nanotech repairs on the fly. Their weapons evolve mid-battle. Krith growled, rage and disbelief mixing in his voice. They fight with savage honor and terrifying resolve. They do not hesitate to sacrifice everything. Virith's eyes glinted coldly. We underestimated them. Our arrogance blinded us. Now we face extinction. Far from the battlefields, Dr. Reyes examined real-time combat data. Her fingers traced lines of nanotech swarm activity, graviton distortions, and shield failures. They've studied our history, she murmured. The Deathworld protocols are not new. They are our own demons reflected back. Her assistant looked up, concern evident. Are we becoming the monsters the galaxy warned about? Reyes shook her head. No. We fight for survival, but with mercy. That is what separates us. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Dauntless. The enemy had mustered a desperate assault. Multiple squadrons breaching blockade. Chen's voice was tense. Divert all power to disruptors. Target the enemy. Flagship, Voss ordered. Malik shouted from engineering. Shields dropping fast. If this drags on, we're done for. Voss's eyes burned with fierce determination. Then we finish this now. Full Deathworld protocol activation. No mercy. In the void, alien war machines emerged on the ruined surface of a council stronghold. Hulking, merciless constructs of ancient design. Pinned down, Jalen's squad braced for a fight to the death. Reinforcements incoming, he whispered. Maya fired steadily, voice unwavering. Hold the line. For Earth. The ground trembled beneath them as the Deathworld's true horrors revealed themselves. Machines crafted to consume and annihilate. Jalen's heart thundered. This is Deathworld, but we still stand. In orbit, the Dauntless readied its final weapon. Voss's voice was a cold promise. Prepare to deploy the quantum collapse charge. This ends now. Sensors flared red as energy. Built in terrifying crescendo, Zelrith's command deck shook violently. They wield the Deathworld catalyst, a weapon to collapse starship cores and tear through quantum fields. Serthil panicked. We must break their formation, or we are lost. Voss watched the enemy fleet crumble beneath the pulse of her weapon. Every explosion a testament to humanity's wrath. The quantum collapse detonated in a silent, invisible wave that consumed the Council fleet's cores. Ships burst like dying stars, torn apart by the very fabric of space. Zelrith's flagship fell, a bleeding wound in the darkness. Virith's voice faded, broken and bitter. We misjudged them. Earth is the Deathworld. As silence reclaimed. Space. Voss stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, eyes locked on the smoldering battlefield. We survived, she whispered. But the galaxy will never forget who we are. Malik's tired smile was grim. We broke their shields. Now we break their will. From the ashes of the Council's defeat, a new order stirred. One forged by sacrifice, fire, and humanity's unyielding resolve. The galaxy had called Earth Uncivilized. Now it called Earth the Deathworld Destroyers. Now, amid victory, came the cost. Thousands were dead. Ships would never fly again. Earth's orbital defenses were still compromised. There were no reinforcements, just survivors. Voss ran a hand across her faceplate. How many did we lose? 39 ships confirmed. Destroyed. Estimated personnel casualties 11,000, Malik replied quietly. That's just us. We haven't even heard from Europa Station. Any Council ships still active? A few limp signals. Maybe 2 or 3 destroyers fleeing at sublight speeds. No commanders. No chains of command left. She nodded. Then, it's over, she said. No, Malik corrected. It's just beginning. The Dauntless limped back to Earth orbit, its hull scorched, its engines coughing ionized smoke. But it returned as a symbol. Billions watched the broadcast, across Earth, across colonies once mocked for their poverty. across independent systems long cowed into silence. Voss stood in front of the galaxy with no medals, no fanfare, just scars and fire behind her eyes. "We did not start this war," she said, "but we will finish it. The Council saw us as animals. Now they will see us as architects of justice, of change, of a new order." Cheers erupted on Earth. Riots broke out. On Council-aligned worlds, old empires shook. Humanity had not just survived, it had ascended. Weeks later, a delegation arrived. 3 council remnants wearing silken robes, scars of plasma burn still fresh. Their ships were disarmed. Their pride was not. Voss met them in a lunar chamber beneath the Tranquility Dome. "We come to negotiate peace," said the tallest of them, a Varelian with silver eyes. "There is no peace," Voss said coldly. "Only terms." "What terms?" "You disband the Council. You end the classification of species by aggression level. You acknowledge Earth as a sovereign power." The Varelian scoffed. "You're just one world." Voss stepped forward. "We're one Deathworld," she said, "and we just broke the galaxy's back." The delegates left in silence. One remained behind. He bent the knee. From the ashes of the Council's defeat, a new coalition stirred. It began with former slaves, humanoid, laborers from the mineral moons of Gareth Tell, who had heard of Earth's stand and revolted. Then came the exiled peoples of Threxis, the drowned colonies of Murus Prime, and even defectors from council races who had seen the truth. They came to Earth for guidance, for alliance. Humanity didn't conquer, it inspired. And Voss, once a captain, now stood as Chancellor of the Forge Accord, a new union built not on fear or hierarchy, but on resilience and choice. Malik became her general, Juno became the ambassador, and the Dauntless became the first ship of the Accord's navy. On the anniversary of the Council's fall, a name echoed across systems. The Accord's enemies still whispered it with hatred. Their allies shouted it with pride. Deathworld Destroyers, a name born from insult, forged into legend, where the old galaxy had built cathedrals to peace, but armed them with silence. Earth built ships of war and filled them with voices, voices that would never be silenced again. Voss stood once more on the bridge of the Dauntless, now reforged with alien alloys and 1,000 battle honors etched into its walls. Out there, past the neutral zones and ruined councils, lay the unknown, species yet unmet, threats yet to rise. But she was ready. "Set course," she said. "Where to, Chancellor?" Malik asked. She smiled. "Forward."